It is getting wild out here at SoFi Stadium. We're doing shots. We got whiskey. It's going down. That's how Cowboy fans do it. All the Camp Maniacs out there.
How about the Cowboys?
We walked what I'm calling a Dallas Cowboys corridor. As you can tell, we are at a Cowboys home game. Yes, I understand that we are in Los Angeles, Inglewood, technically SoFi Stadium, but this is basically AT&T West. So follow me this way. We're gonna see if we can find a couple of fans. We are infiltrating enemy territory. The Cowboy fans are doing it right. We got the signage, we got the great food, we got the inflatables. Thoughts on today's game?
We're gonna beat the shit out of them.
Woo! You see this right here? How do you feel about today's game?
We better win, that's all I know.
How do you feel about Dak Prescott after last week's performance?
Dak Prescott has been very consistent with the division. He has took us back-to-back 12-5 seasons. You know what I mean? His winning record is above. You can say what you want about the past 7 years, but on our division, he has been owning it for years.
Are you a Dak rider or are you a Dak hater?
Before he broke his finger, I was a rider. Now, nah. They need to let him go now.
You know Dak Prescott's watching this right now, right? Actually follows the Camp Fan podcast.
Wait.
Go!
Crackemifyougotem, son! Let's go, baby! Cowboys Nation, son! Let's go! Cowboys Nation represent! Cowboys Nation represent! Let's go! Get out of here!
Crack 'em if you got 'em.
Crack 'em if you got 'em, son. All day, every day.
Crack 'em if you got 'em, Seattle.
Here we are at Lumen Field. And is that a Harry Potter reference? Maybe. I don't know. I've casted a lot of Lumen spells.
Lumen videos.
We want to see Deuce represent. We want to see him repeat. I want some repeats. And I don't need 3 beats if they repeat.
I don't need 3 beats.
I don't need
if
3
they
beats.
repeat.
If they repeat. Let's go.
You don't think we're gonna make the postseason?
Maybe wild card.
So this is
Maybe wild card.
This is where I'm like, I'm good for a good ribbing, but like to say we're not gonna make the postseason, now I can't even argue with you because you've sucked. Oh God.
You know it too. You know it.
Who's your quarterback?
This is our year.
Look at those dudes. Look at those dudes. Look at those dudes. Look at those dudes. Let's go!
Let's go, Cowboys! Let's go, baby! Cowboys Nation showing up!
Most pristine athletes in modern history playing in the NFL. Even the offensive linemen are incredibly athletic. I mean, these guys are over 300 pounds and, you know, they can
Not only the size, but the speed of the linemen? Are you kidding
fly
me?
on the field.
You're telling me a guy that's 330 pounds meant to block a guy that's 290 pounds is faster than me, a sporty 240?
High 240. High 240. High 240.
I could beat any one of those guys right now, and I've drank a 6-pack.
What? You're wearing Crocs!
My 40 time is better than any of them.
Erroneous! Erroneous!
Erroneous.
Erroneous on all accounts!
I've never been more sure of anything in my life.
How'd I do?
13-5.
Final quarter, here we go, baby!
CD for the CD, baby!
And I'm going for 2.
Woo!
I don't know why my safety was just playing off so far.
Tackle him!
Yeah, well, I might be a boomer, but you sound like a pipsqueak. You don't even know how old I am.
No!
You little shit. You didn't win the game, I lost it!
Make sure you know where he is because he understands how to
Call
get
that a
open
throw?
in key situations.
I might be old, but at least I don't still piss my pants.
Protect you and your loved ones with Crackem VPN.
Ever heard the game Marry, Kill? Okay, like, yeah, I'm gonna give you 3 people, and you're gonna decide who will you marry, who will you who will you kill?
Okay.
Jerry Jones, Dak Prescott, and Tony Romo.
Marry Jerry. He's got all the monies. Probably Tony. Dak Prescott. Gotta kill him.
I'm gonna Romo.
She's gonna with Romo.
I'm gonna marry Dak.
She's gonna marry Dak.
I'm gonna kill Jones.
She's gonna kill Jerry Jones. Who will you marry, kill between Jerry Jones, Dak Prescott, and then Tony Romo?
I'm out.
Jerry Jones, you.
So Jerry?
Jerry Jones, you.
Okay.
You.
Who will you marry, Dak Prescott or Tony Romo?
Tony Romo.
Tony Romo.
So that means you would kill Dak?
Yes.
Marry Dak. Kill Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones, poor Jerry.
Tony Romo.
Why not? He's probably one of the best commentators, announcers on the game right now.
Tony Romo? That's mine. That's mine.
Jerry Jones, right now. Right now.
You heard it here, guys. You heard it.
We need trash can.
Oh, here we go.
AJ, you have to sleep in this for the night. Yeah. Football we already got. AJ's trying to take a piss right now. Trash can.
Stickers.
Stickers.
Couple stickies.
Couple stickies? Yes.
So we got a trash can. We're gonna go test it out in the toy aisle.
You're not getting it first.
First try.
He's not getting it. Give these guys a shot. They'll win a jersey if they get it. Oh, none of us made it. Come on, Dad. You get a free Cowboys jersey if you get it. None of us have made it. Dad's going for a shot. Come on, let's get it. Oh, that was the closest one.
Felt like the closest. Bro. Yeah. We all missed it, so don't worry about it. We missed it. You guys going to the game tomorrow? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Us too.
Not only are we giving away 3 jerseys for whoever can toss a football into that can, we're also going to be leaving the can so someone can take that home too.
Look, there's still practicing. Always right set.
Guys, what are you doing here?
Game day, baby.
Game day, baby! Woo! Kickoff's a month away.
Yeah, but we gotta get our reps in.
Yeah, they train, we train. Crack 'em, bro.
No, it's 7:30 and it's a Wednesday.
Road pop?
Oh! No, I'm going to work and I'm driving. Get out of my car.
Ooh, your boy got it right. Push the red button. Woo! Hey-o. Cowboys. Cowboys Nation, Cam Phantomaniacs, where you at? I'm sitting right here in my chair, man.
Yeah, we're right here, dude. Oh, yeah, get it in
Get
ya.
it in ya. Let me get one in there, too.
Double crack 'em if you got 'em, baby.
I don't have a drink. I didn't have a drink ready.
Crack 'em if you got 'em, man.
Triple crack
I haven't
'em
been
if
on
you
the
got 'em.
show in so long. I didn't have a drink ready.
Well,
You forgot, bro. You
Hey,
forgot how it goes.
Darn it.
EJ, well, if you need to, we'll do a quick intro here for you, and then you can run and grab one if you want. I mean, no peer pressure here. You can get
Yeah,
a
I got
bubbly.
some in my little fridge right over here.
Okay, perfect. Well, I mean, hey, Ant's out of studio. I feel like I'm taking control of the show
yeah, hey, take
already.
Ooh.
Okay, well, welcome, our boy EJ Savage, aka Boys in the Zone. You can
pretty much find him on all the social medias, but make sure you spell it with a T, unlike Adam, who's going to fix that.
Oh, yeah.
Real quick.
Boys in T-Zone.
Boys in T-Zone.
Yeah, you gotta put the H in there.
You got to be careful because if you search for Boys in T-Zone, it's an entirely different website.
Yeah, it's like
Very fetish,
goatees
very
and, like, all
fetish.
sorts of weird stuff, dude. Just completely, yeah.
There we go. There we go.
Completely weird stuff. Don't go to that site. Go to mine.
But yeah.
When I looked at it earlier on, I was like, something doesn't look right there, and I didn't go through the fact checking.
You know, it's funny.
Hey,
I
we
looked
found
at it and I didn't even notice.
No.
I was like, roll with it.
You didn't even care.
That's cool.
You know how I noticed it? Because I was making sure that I got the Z sound correct and that I remembered correctly that it does have the Z in it, and then I noticed the H. But also, Anthony Bessie, you guys know him. We don't need to spend too much time on him. But EJ, it's been a while. It's been a while.
It's been a while since EJ's been on this fucking show.
Let's go.
And if I can
Yes,
just
sir.
steal from you, how you been? How you doing, EJ?
I'm doing good, man. It's a hard Cowboys season, but other than that, life has been treating me pretty good, and excited to get back on here with the OGs. One of my favorite Cowboys shows to tune into, Cowboys Game Fan.
That's right,
Heyo.
baby. Yeah, and,
Well, we got draft season coming up, and we need you. A lot of EJ Savage, the original Will McClay. We need to deep dive a couple sessions here with you going into the offseason because right now all we have as Cowboys fans is to look forward to the draft after all these other the Commanders, the fucking Eagles. They're all getting ready to watch playoff football, and we're here wearing our stupid ass jackets and merch. Like a bunch of clowns, but hey, we're in it to win it, son.
Well, hey, speaking about merch, we dropped a new shirt on the Can Fan store. You can get a Fire Jerry crew neck. You can get a Fire Jerry t-shirt if you're just like the rest of us Cowboys fans that are pissed off at how the Cowboys season went and the lackluster. Even with the season over, Jerry's fucking pulling his circus bullshit that we're going to get into today. But go ahead and cop yourself a Fire Jerry shirt. Support the cause. It ain't going to happen, but it's still fun to say.
Let's do it.
EJ, we were talking just before, and I just wanted to reiterate that conversation just offline. I don't know if that's okay to do.
Yeah, of course, dude. It's our show. We can do whatever the fuck we want. It's off season, baby. Everything that's happening right now in the NFL doesn't really matter to us. We're going to do it for fun, so it's off season. We can do whatever we want. So go for it.
Oh, well.
You just want to reiterate
So
how
show me your nipples, AJ. No, I'm just kidding.
He'll do it.
Well, let's
off cam.
Yeah, let's just.
Oh, you meant the other conversation.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, fuck it. Let's just jump into the show.
Okay, let's do it then. Well, I thought you were going to prompt it. I wasn't sure. I was just talking, and I was just.
You know what? I forgot. So.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I'll take the blame.
He's already vape 100.
Yeah. So we do have a schedule.
Okay, let's follow that schedule. Why don't you break it down? What do we got tonight there, WayJ?
Well, I guess first of all, do we want to do a little quick recap of the season before we jump into, the hot news of the week here is that coaching carousel is coming up. A lot of teams are starting to sniff around. Even our boy Mike McCarthy. Maybe he's not your boy. Maybe he is. We'll find out in this convo. But Mike McCarthy was getting asked to go. Visit a couple teams, or at least the Chicago Bears, and was denied that opportunity. But before we do that, I want to kind of hear the recap. I believe that's what we were talking about. The recap of the season, how you felt the last few weeks, that roller coaster kind of ending, or at least, for us Cowboys fans who had, even with that 0.1%, we're still trying to figure out mathematically how the Cowboys can still make it into the playoffs. Like, until that dagger was set in, like, how did the rest of the season go for you?
For me, man, it was basically whenever Dak went down, to me, it was like, screw it, lose the rest of the games. I would rather get a top pick. And you don't have to use the top pick. You can drop back and get a better, more capital, especially after you wasted a 4th-round pick on Jonathan Mingo, who had a total of like 3 catches over those final weeks since the trade deadline. So regardless, I was just ready to pack the season up and get the best pick as possible for us. Just knowing, because like, even if we did make the playoffs, like, Cooper Rush isn't going to do anything. Trey Lance isn't going to do anything. Like, why would you want to purposely get to the playoffs and then lose the first round? So yeah, it was kind of somber because we had those 3 straight seasons of 12-5, and it was a fun time to be a Cowboys fan. Well, until playoffs hit. But yeah, it was just, I was ready for draft season. I'm a draft guy anyways. I like scouting, and there's some heavy hitters at the top of the draft, but this draft doesn't really extend into the teens as much for first round grades from the guys I've watched. So having 12 is a little bit like, I don't know if we're going to get a true first round grade, but we will see.
Well, EJ, you did say, like, okay, you said we might not get a true first round grade, but we were talking off air. 2 of our better picks in the last 10 years have been in that range of 10 to 20 with Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb. So there is those guys that do slip. CeeDee Lamb, no Cowboys fan expected to get him at 17. Micah Parsons, I don't think any Cowboys fan expected to get him at 12, and we actually traded back and still got him. So I think there's always that. You can never really tell 100% what's going to happen on draft day. Like, I feel like there's going to be talent still there.
Still going to be talent. I just don't see the blue chip guys as much in this draft. And then you also don't have as high heavy hitter quarterbacks in this draft that you did in years past whenever we got CD and Micah as well. So we will see. I really want a wide receiver, but I'm almost thinking, like, more that I watch these guys, I don't know if any of these guys stick out as like, oh man, we got to get this guy. Unless it's Ted McMillan. If he falls, I'm sign me up. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to hear a bit more about your like individual players when we start to do our mocks throughout the off season, because I mean, outside of just some of the mainstay players that we've at least been watching, I don't know a lot of the deep round guys. And if you are saying like, okay, there is that possibility with the Cowboys at 12, if there is nobody there that's truly available, then like trade back, get some more picks, and stack some second round guys up, or just have some more cachet to move, because we don't have a lot of cap space going into this offseason. So I can't see free agency. I can't see us being wild in free agency. I mean, as much as Micah wants to say bring Tyreek Hill here, I don't think we can afford a guy like Tyreek Hill to come over in free agency. So we have to draft a wide receiver if that's the way that we're going.
I think if you traded for Tyreek, he'd only be like $10 million against the cap. Don't quote me on that. But if you restructured CD and Dak, that frees up loads of money. So just because Steven says that, hey, we're kind of cap strapped, don't believe him fully. They could make moves and free up some money some other ways. But as it sits right now, I think that we're third, maybe fourth, honestly, in the division in actual cap money for 2025. But, they can pull some strings and easily open that up.
Bandwagon boys, question for you guys, because you asked EJ how he felt about the end of the season. He was a bitch. He wanted to tank, right? You didn't hear that. He didn't hear me say that. But EJ wanted to tank once Dak got hurt. Us in the Stewed, man, I think we held it pretty hardcore. We were kind of in it, even with that 0.1%. We were showing up each day. We said in studio during game day,
crack 'em if you got 'em, son.
Yes. We were basically saying in studio that if the Cowboys were playing, we were going to cheer for them to win, essentially, because we all essentially wanted the higher draft pick, but game day, we were going to put it aside and cheer for the team. And then when all the chips had fallen, we were going to kind of talk about the draft or be happy about the draft. But now that the season's done, how do you guys feel? Would you have rather us lost all the games and say picked at 6? Or are you kind of happy that we kind of stuck with it and had a bunch of crackums and had a good time in all the games, even though we knew we were pretty much shit?
Well, I'll tell you, probably around 8 or 9 p.m. on April 25th, on day 1 of the draft, just after the Cowboys pick. No, because honestly, I can make it work either way. I think I was actually expecting more of a 14-15 pick for the Cowboys from how things were going. So 12 kind of feels good. Like, it kind of feels like a win. I think the most we could have gotten was it 8, or the highest, lowest, however you want to look at it, 8 or something like that. Well, let's say that's what it was. So, of course, you're going to get a better player that way, or at least have an opportunity to pick the player that you want. But I'm not upset about it. And like you mentioned, during the games, I wanted to see the Cowboys win. But any loss that they had from that point on, in the moment, of course, we're all, we're watching the game. So I got my my Cowboys hat on there. So, and today I have my Can Fan hat on, and that's why I can say the losses didn't hurt as much at all.
Yeah, I was never.
And especially that Dak was out. And so it was like, oh, we're not even really seeing the real Cowboys product. So there was that combination of things. If we were losing like we did and Dak was in, that would probably hurt. The losses would hurt a lot more.
You kind of just said exactly how I was going to start. Had Dak been in and we were this kind of record, I would be very, very upset. But we saw not just Dak, a lot of the team was hurt this year. So the fact that there was still kind of positivity coming out of the season, it made it better for us watching it. I don't want to ever want to be in a position where I want to say tank for draft spots, because I don't think they're going to draft the way that we ever want them to draft. So it's almost like we're asking for something that we're never going to get from the Cowboys. They're going to have their people on the board that they want. And I guarantee you, even at the 11th spot, we're going to be complaining that they drafted someone that they probably could have gotten in the second round anyways. So
don't say that.
I know.
Don't come on now.
Well,
don't make this more. Don't make it more depressing than it is.
I will say this though, like when you look at the lowest graded players on the Cowboys from this year, it's been their number 1 draft pick from this past year and the year before. So they need to have a good draft this year. They need to pick somebody that is going to be that day 1 starter. We can't be getting anybody that's going to be developmental players 2 years from now. We do need to get that dog if we are in that spot, regardless if like there's nobody that's kind of that first round grade in those teens. I mean, if you want to call us being in the teens, but I still had fun watching the rest of the season. Do I wish we had a better showing? I actually do wish we were going to make the playoffs, because it would have made the dramatics for us, at least in the studio, that much more heightened. So on a selfish level, yes, I wish we would have made the playoffs.
I have a question.
Yep.
If we made the playoffs, who would you rather start at quarterback, Lance or Rush?
Trey Lance.
I think
AJ.
Shoot, yeah.
Cooper Rush is a fucking bum. If he's a fucking bum.
Here's the thing.
I've seen enough Cooper Rush to never watch him play another down of football. He is not it at all. He is not it.
This is why it's a tough question, because if Trey Lance came in and was playing well enough for the Cowboys to win, then they would get in the playoffs. We saw what Cooper Rush did with them, and he didn't get them into the playoffs. So I have to say de facto Trey Lance, just because like logically we just saw Cooper Rush couldn't get us there. So I'm not saying Trey Lance would, but he probably would have. I'd rather. Plus, I think he's just got a little bit more excitement when he's on the field. I'm a little more excited to watch him play.
Yeah, Coop Rush is like that car that you're like, you just want it to go a little bit faster once you hit the highway, but you're like, it's topped out. You're never gonna even hit the speed limit on the highway.
Coop Rush is that car that you look at and you're like, is a piece of shit, and then you drive it and you're like, oh yeah, it is a piece of shit.
Okay, the Giants call you up. They say, hey, we'll give you number 3 for Dak Prescott straight up. What are you guys doing?
I'm not trading him.
Well, because then you're assuming that if they're gonna give us the third spot, we're drafting Shedeur Sanders if he's still available at number 3, or a Cam Ward.
Ward, yeah.
Right? So
I don't want either one of those guys for like a long term. I don't think for me, neither one of those quarterbacks stand out as a high potential, elite QB.
This is sorry to cut you off, AJ, but this is the reason why if you could have had Trey Lance under contract 1 more year and you played him, let's say the last 4 games of the season, and he actually balled out, you had the potential to possibly trade him to one of these quarterback needy teams, because it's not a strong quarterback class. But now Lance is probably going to walk for nothing, or you're going to try to sign him as your backup, and it's just like we haven't seen anything from him. So what, what I mean? It's so weird. And then the Guyton situation too is just I just don't understand it either. But go ahead.
So you hate it. So we're talking about the Guyton pick. Let's move into it a little bit.
Guyton?
He was very underwhelming. We were pissed off when they drafted. Actually, the last 2 first rounders, we were visibly annoyed with both first-round picks. I actually believe you were on the show with us when they drafted Mozzie, and none of us were happy with the Mozzie Smith pick, and then none of us were too excited with the Tyler Guyton pick. He was the last tackle, first-round graded tackle, and he was even kind of a fringe first-round grade, but his intangibles and his size and his athleticism were there, so we kind of I can only talk for myself, but we kind of get blinded by the hopes and dreams of their athletic abilities and hope that they end up growing into that position. But is this going to be another Mozzie Smith pick where next season we're saying the same thing? Oh yeah, he's grown so much in training camp, to then just watch him get smoked and have 3 false starts game after game after game, a holding penalty, and then still get burned for sacks?
Well, I was on record of saying Guyton is the most overrated player in last year's draft. Based on where he was in mock drafts and people's rankings and stuff, I saw him as high as 16th from some pundits. I had him more in like the late 40 range for my stack. So I didn't see him as a first-round guy. I saw him as like a 2-3, just super raw. But going into what I kind of feel with Guyton is, it's just so weird that they were rotating him at the end of the season. I got told by somebody that it was injury related, but he's not on any injury reports, so I have no idea what to think. And he's a guy that's super raw. Why are you not giving him playing time? Unless he's going to make a move back to right tackle. That's the only way that I see that actually being a good thing to keep him out, because, you know, he's not building up the tendencies for the left side. If you're going to move him to the right, that's probably a good thing. You're still getting some play experience, but you're not getting all the technique and stuff like that and whatnot. So if they move him to right tackle during training camp, I will actually be like, okay, that was a good move to not play him full-time at left tackle. If that's not the case and he is left tackle next season, what the hell were they doing? Like, you had all of this time to give him playing time, and sure, maybe he does build up some bad habits, but at least he's understanding the guys opposed or opposite of him and what they're trying to do on each and every single rep. He really struggles with, getting beat to the inside because he's always trying to reach out to the outside against these speed guys, and then they just cut back in across his face. Just not good hand tech a lot of the time. His feet are like, if his feet are bad instantly off the snap, he's already beaten. So got to get in there and work with Duke and really trying to build up from the bottom up, because the hands, he has the length to be good. If he fixes his feet and his balance and not getting over his skis, he'll be all right. But yeah, I really didn't understand that. I think that a lot of the tackles that are in this class are not very good either, and they're probably going to transition to guards. So you're really stuck with Guyton, unfortunately, and then you have a decision to make with Terrence Steele as well. It's hard to get in the mindset of, we have so many needs to fill, but the players that are coming in don't seem all that great, except for the running back class. The running back class is great. And I was watching the draft show, and Vosh Lombardi said something where he's like, we need the guys that are role players. Stop trying to always draft the guys that have a ceiling this high, but they never meet it. And so their actual ceiling in the NFL is down here. We need the guys that come in here and just stay there, because that's, we need those guys. So take a safer pick. I really don't care, as long as he's a player and he's good. Stop with the Mozzie stuff, stop with the Guyton stuff. Just because they're super athletes, that doesn't always translate to the next level.
And the Mozzie has been a major disappointment. And the kind of shitty thing is it's a big need, I think, for the Cowboys. Maybe not as big as it has been in the past, because we have been able, I think, to fill, maybe not completely fill holes, but Kendricks, let's say, of course, he's a free agent now. If he does return, though, that really does help out that linebacker, and then de facto helps out the issue of defensive tackle just by having some sort of plug there. But it is something that, like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys go back with one of their first or second pick and go for another defensive tackle. Because
there's some good ones. That's also another class that is very deep. And it's not always the one tech guys, but there's quite a few 1-techs. There's some 3-techs, especially if you lose Osa Odigizua in free agency. There's some guys, Derek Harmon, Tyleek Williams from Ohio State. There's some guys that can fill that 3-tech position for you as well. And then also just getting Marshawn Nealon bigger. He can also kick in there inside if you need him to. Hopefully Sam Williams comes back and he's good. But yeah, the decisions with D-Law, with Zach Martin are going to be huge for this team moving forward.
Well, guys, the Dallas Cowboys' lowest graded defenders this year per PFF, Mozzie Smith came in at dead last at 34.8. That's red. That's if anyone's not familiar with the PFF colors, you're peeing out blood right now. Is that red? The second worst ranked was draft pick Kalen Carson, who came in at 39.7 cornerback. Then our third and fourth worst were Maurice Leafau at 50.1 and Marshawn Nealon at 50.8. So all four of those guys, Mozzie being the first pick of last year or 2 years ago draft, and then the other three all drafted this season, all playing terribly. So you talk about the Cowboys not going all in or picking anyone up at free agency, but then they're also hamstringing themselves in the draft by drafting guys that didn't exactly pan out. So I mean, I don't think Maurice Leafau's grade's that fair because I think he kind of came on around the end of the season. But you got Kalen Carson, who sucked, Marshawn Nealon, who didn't play very well, and then Mozzie Smith, who's been just a pitiful example of a player.
And another thing is, stop with the damn training camp hype. Mozzie Smith, Tyler Guyton, Kalen Carson, all of those guys were, they're world beaters at training camp. And what happens in the season? They're not good. It's like, stop trying to hype people up whenever they're practicing against their own team. Like, what are we doing right here? I hate that. It's always been a thing where I'm like, what are we doing? Kalen Carson, I kind of fell into it because I really liked his film coming into, the draft and whatnot. And then we took him, and where we took him, I was like, this could be a player. Now, throwing in, I think he was a fifth round rookie, and asking him to be a starting cornerback against, your division, especially where you got dogs, Malik Neighbors, Terry McLaurin, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, like probably a recipe for disaster. They're probably going to attack him a lot. Not having Bland out there hurts. And then basically when Bland came back, Diggs went out. So it was just like a wash in that respect. But Kalen Carson, I honestly don't understand why he was he had the shoulder thing. I think it was a shoulder thing. He came back too soon, hurt it, out 4 games, comes back too soon or whatever. Then he was played 1 game, then he's out again. It's just like, what are we doing, man? I didn't understand it. Israel Mukuamu was bad this season as well. For all the people that are super stans of Israel Mukuamu, I don't understand these depth guys that people fall in love year after year at training camp, and then they come in and they're shown that they're not good. So had to get my 2 cents out there.
No, I hear you, brother. And in Kalen Carson, I think I agree with you, but the expectation for him should be in now the next 2 or 3 years, and then seeing if he's worth extending that contract or not. I think, and I don't think you were trying to say that he underperformed at all. You did mention but that's the expectation with that.
He was thrown to the wolves. He was thrown to the wolves.
He was just thrown in. And so what I did want to say though is Maurice Leafau. I sounded like AI.
Leafau.
Maurice Leafau.
Leafau. Yep.
I thought optically the last, say, 3, maybe 4 games after Overshown got injured and basically started in that game, he really came to play, and he only has a 50.1 here on PFF. And what I want to try to do here, and I will in a second, is look to see what his last few games were and see if that was right or not. But I don't know, EJ, did you feel
AJ,
the same way?
Scroll up on the meter and see if that 65 is his run blocking grade or his coverage grade, all the way to the top. I think you need to go.
It's this one here.
Well, AJ's going up. I will say something that hurt more than what I'll say hurt more than any loss of the season was the loss of Overshown. DeMarvion Overshown's injury news, I think that was worse than any Cowboys loss this year because he was the only at the time. He was the only fun thing to watch on the defense.
Oh yeah,
he was the only player playing with everything. So, but I do think Leafau stepped in nicely for him.
Can I mention something in the chat? Brent, the Packer fan, says Ben Johnson to Dallas, McCarthy to Chicago. Yeah, Ben Johnson is not going to come to the Cowboys. apparently his agent wants somebody to be there as the GM that also falls in line with what Ben Johnson wants to do. Jerry's not that guy, so
No.
Ben Johnson is completely out of the question for the Cowboys.
I don't think any of these young OCs or DCs are going to end up in Dallas. I just it's the worst thing you could do for your career. Dallas is the last, like, you're, as a head coach, you're going there because you have no other choice in my mind, and you're kind of bending the knee to Jerry because you've already exhausted all your other stops. Like Mike McCarthy wasn't going to get a head coaching job at any other place other than Dallas, and by coming to Dallas, he had to play by Jerry Jones's rules. So
okay, hold that, sweet Coach Carousel chat. Let's finish looking.
Just everybody keep in mind, we're still on the intro right now.
No, yeah. No. We swapped
Still
out.
the intro?
I think we swapped
This
over
was the
here.
main event, boys.
Yeah, we swapped over here to the PFF grades. So, any surprises here on the top grades? I don't know. And were you reading off a list, or were you just looking at the same thing?
no, are you talking about me? Did you ask me that?
Yeah, motherfucker, we're talking about you out of studio, bitch.
Sorry, I didn't hear what he asked.
Sorry, that came out of nowhere.
No, did you have a list that you were looking at, or were you just looking?
Sorry, no, I saw someone had posted it, and it was over 200 snaps is what I was looking at. So I was just looking at the bottom 4 players with 200 snaps plus.
Okay, well, these are our top defense by the defensive PFF grade here. So, anyways, we can look at it, and whenever we can go look at offense now too and see what that looks like.
Well,
I mean, it's pretty disturbing that there's no other player higher than a 75. We only have one defensive player that really stood out, and it's no surprise that it was Micah Parsons. But it's kind of alarming, like past seasons when we're 12-5, you either had a Trevon Diggs balling out, or you had a Deron Bland balling out. You had DeMarcus Lawrence, who was always up in the high 80s the last couple of years. So for as well as the defense played, I'm surprised that, and I'm saying at the end of the season, it's surprising that we only had one guy above 75 in Micah Parsons.
I think also, sorry, EJ, just real quick, take into account this position rank too. Micah was 6th of 121 with 90 grade, and then Kendricks with a 75 grade was 13th of 83. So the linebackers might not be as high as the edges overall. And then even Jordan
Kendricks, by the way, I love Derek Kendricks on the team.
And Jordan Lewis is 25th of 116, so that's still pretty quality.
Guys, Ultra Cowboy is alive. He just made a comment in the chat. PFF is a joke. They rated Diggs at 50 and 21 when he had 11 interceptions. So yeah, we do take everything for a grain of salt, but it does give us context to have jump offs for the players, right?
Yeah.
Back, Ultra.
And again, Ultra is alive, so that's good.
What's up, Ultra?
Quality of life check.
Thank goodness. I've been praying for you, man. No, but from my understanding, apparently how PFF does their grades and stuff is they'll look at a play and they'll give you either 2 points, 1 point, or 0 points, from what I understand. And so the highest points, even if it's like a crazy play you could get, is 2 points per play, and that's how they come up with their grades. Eric Kendricks, to me, he was getting a bunch of 1s. Like, he was doing his job, but he wasn't doing it like all worldly, so I think his rating is a little bit higher than what I would give. Jordan Lewis, though, I really don't care what you do as a pass rusher at DB or run defense. Like, really, that's not your job. As long as you're tackling your guy and you're covering your guy, I'm fine with that. So I think he should be boosted up. Interested to see if you can scroll down to Donovan Wilson. I really, really want to see what he did, because he was terrible all season. Okay. Dang, his coverage grade was that high. That's insanity to me. Because I
think it was inflated at the end. I think it was inflated by the last few games. Start of the season, he was playing pretty rough,
pretty stinky.
Yeah, Demo even 48th. That's just crazy to me. I feel like he was so much better than that. But
that's what I mean. The PFF grades, we love them when they play into our narrative, but when it's a player that it doesn't, it's like, well, these aren't that great. But I trust my eye test, like you said. DeMarvion Overshown, to me, I don't care what his PFF grade says. He was the best defensive player for the Cowboys while Micah Parsons was out easily.
Yeah, and like, you think about it this way, is like Demo was getting tackles for loss, like 8-yard tackle for losses. And sometimes, like, sure, he overshot the gap and stuff like that, and then they got an extra 2 yards and the other linebacker had to clean it up. That's a negative on his part, and he probably got a 0 points on one play, but the -8 yards, that probably kills a drive. You know what I mean? So that should be weighted more than just 2 points, in my opinion. So that's why PFF is so weird with their ratings. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that they incorporate a lot of different factors into how they come up with 2 points or 1 point or 0 point. But either way, like we said, it's really that we just love to talk about piss, and then we use that metaphor when we're talking about these colors.
Yeah, what's orange? Too much Gatorade or what?
Oh no, just dehydrated.
Not enough Gatorade.
Like, look.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Mozzie Smith.
You've been drinking oil or something. If you're anything, if you're in orange to red, you're like you haven't drank anything in 10 days.
Red, you're dying.
Yeah, basically, Mozzie Smith here has been at a electronic music festival, and he's just been drinking GHB. He's not been drinking.
He's just been drinking what's out of the grease traps at Whataburger.
Yeah.
Dude, at one point in the season, Mozzie, Linval Joseph, and Kitty, remember his name, other homie from the Bills. They were all the third worst, second worst, and first worst defensive tackles in the league. I'm not even joking you. I have a picture on my Twitter. It was hilarious.
Well, let's have. I mean, what do you expect? Let's have a look at our offense here. See, and this is the thing. CeeDee Lamb, who had what I think was below
that grade is impressive for him because
I know
he was getting bracket covered. He was getting doubled more often than not because nobody's scared of our other weapons. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 70. He was the highest grade for our offense at 77.3. Next to that was Tyler Smith at 75. You like to see that with your guard, ranked 17th overall as well. Which
top two guys are in the Pro Bowl. Not that means fuck all, but CeeDee Lamb and Tyler Smith both made the Pro Bowl.
And then Monte Turpin, don't forget Monte.
And Turp.
But then we come to Rico Dowdle, who must have been listening in when our fantasy football, which reminds me, we got to talk fantasy football in the next show, but not this one. Can Fan Fantasy Football congratulate our
next
new
time I actually need to draft my team in the league
because
I completely missed the draft.
Oh, that sucks, dude. Well, you know what? We'll start it a little earlier and try to plan a date where people can make time for it. But Rico, after that trade that you made with Anthony, it caused our long-term 25-year fantasy football league to go up in arms.
Yep.
Rico went off.
Yep. It's a great trade, in my opinion.
It's a great trade.
Great trade in my opinion.
It worked out for both of us.
And I think like
so EJ, just to give you a little backstory, just so that you have an idea what we're talking about. I traded 3 players to Adam, and he traded me Lamar Jackson, and one of the players I traded was Rico Dowdle. And our whole fantasy, besides AJ, the other 9 guys were going absolutely insane.
And they were pissed because of
calling for collusion.
You know what I remember is you sending me a trade offer, Jaden Daniels for Amari Cooper, and then you pulled the damn rug when I accepted it. What the hell is that about?
Remember. Dude, I was very bad in Can Fan this year.
But I mean, and at that point, the problem with Anth making that Devils trade that I call it now is his team was undefeated, and then when that trade happened, CMC got injured, so that was off the table. So he could have used Rico Dowdle, and then his team barely made playoffs, and he was out first round or something like that.
There you go.
That's what happened.
Start of snakes, baby. Start of snakes.
It's weird because like Rico Dowdle is a guy that they brought back on the 1-year deal, and I said on Twitter, if you're going to bring back Rico Dowdle, sign him to a cheap 2-year deal with a third-year option kind of a thing. And I don't know if they do that in the NFL versus the NBA. I know they definitely do it in the NBA, but you could have had him locked up where you don't have to worry about him, and then running back doesn't seem like such a big need. Now he can go into free agency and be like, well, I'm just as good as this guy and this guy and this guy, and I ran behind a worse line with only one offensive weapon, and I was still doing pretty good when our one offensive weapon, CeeDee Lamb, was taken out, and they could stack the box, So I think that was a fumble by the Cowboys front office as well. Not like, even if it's just an extra $3 million you throw on the top of the contract, and you could have made that incentive based. Say he had done nothing, especially with the injuries he had in prior years. You could have made it all incentive based, and it's just yeah.
I just want to bring up a point to both of you guys, or all three of you guys. Ultra Cowboys shooting some stuff off in the chat. He says Cooper Beebe had better numbers than Pro Bowl Cam Jurgens. So we look at Cooper Beebe down there as center. How do you guys think? Start of the season, we were like, oh, Cooper Beebe, he's never played center before. He's center. How do we think someone like Cooper Beebe fared this season? And do we think that grade right there is warranted?
Well, the thing with BB started off a little shaky, but he had growth. Unlike the other offensive linemen that we had that we took in the first round, Cooper Beebe got better as the season went on. He really did. He's a third round pick, right? You're gonna have, and he was thrown into the fire. So I'm excited that we have our center next year. Like we can take at least that position off the draft need. I was rocking his jersey on week 18. So I'm a BB boy, and I'd like to see the growth that he had. And I think he's just going to get better and better with as the years go on.
One thing to point out. Yeah, one thing to point out here, guys, is just the placement of our offensive line. We got Tyler Smith with the 75 grade, then Terrence Steele with a 67. So take these numbers for what you will. Brock Hoffman 66, Zach Martin 65, Cooper Beebe 65, and then hang on, I got to scroll down. Oh, sorry. There he is. Tyler Guyton last on the offense with 49.
Jonathan Mingo putting up some great numbers down
there.
Too.
Mingo and Guyton. Well, Guyton took this prestigious honor of lowest PFF grade. But my point being, the rest of the offensive line, or the guys who are going to be there more than likely, all seem to perform fairly well, at least adequate, and that's good to see. One thing I really like to see, though, is Brock Hoffman's performance. And to answer your question about Cooper Beebe, I think I was really happy with how he played. I think he probably is going to really take a nice step moving into next season. I think he looks very comfortable, and he's got that quick agility, which hopefully he can take to the next level and learn how to utilize that. But I love how he snaps the ball too. It's sideways.
Sideways ball snapper.
He has the ball sideways on the line, and then he just
alongside
fucking snaps it. Anyways,
well, you did bring it. I want to get to Brock Hoffman next. I just want to hear what you guys think about Cooper Beebe, because you are right. Brock and Ant said it the last.
All of our line was
solid,
fairly average. Let's say,
hard to believe that Terrence Steele is ranked higher than some of our other guys.
Yeah, well,
it is what it is, right?
Yeah, the thing with Cooper Beebe for me was coming into the draft, and whenever I scouted him, I thought he was really good as a run blocker and getting out on those swings and stuff like that, and just putting linebackers in the dirt. And he needed some work with the power game and the pass blocking department. It was flipped on its head in the NFL, though. Better as a pass blocker than a run blocker, which is crazy. And Brock Hoffman, dude, for all the crap I said, hey, man, I don't know, they're just kind of talking him up. He played damn good.
Yep.
If he can cut down on the penalties, we got something in him. Honest to God.
I don't mind
with that.
I don't mind the penalties if it's going to change kind of a momentum or get people throwing back at you, having that kind of angry lineman.
Mean dude.
It's with the penalties that suck D is the fucking Guyton penalties. All the fucking bullshit false starts. That type of shit
Pre-snap.
is pre-snap penalties. If
you're sticking up for your team, I think everyone gets one of those a game.
Yeah.
Did you guys?
You don't want to do it twice.
You know how Payne threw a punch at Hoffman last game. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
He punched him in the helmet. You know why he punched him in the head? There's video of Hoffman grabbed his dick.
Yeah, nice.
Actually,
grab his dick and twist it.
No, someone dubbed that. Someone dubbed that over the video. Grab your dick and twist it. He full on reach arounds him. And then the dude turns around, punches Hoffman, and then Hoffman points at him.
That's crazy, bro. Hoffman's a dog, bro.
I like
more
Hoffman.
of those guys.
And the offensive line played better once Hoffman got into the rotation and was playing either center or guard. The offensive line started playing better. So
yeah. And another thing though is
sorry, EJ, this is a crack him for Hoffman's dick grab.
Crack him if you got him. Crack him if you got him, boys.
Grab him if you have him.
Grab him if you try. Grab him.
No, but Hoffman brought that mentality that I thought that Ferguson had, and it was not Ferguson took his level from up here down, way down this year, partly because of the injuries and stuff like that. But him without Dak, we used to say, was it Blake Jarwin. I think it was Blake Jarwin. Like Dak made Blake Jarwin is what we would, or not Blake Jarwin. Dalton Schultz. There you go. He made Dalton Schultz. I think that Dak and Ferguson are a little bit more, made together than what we kind of let on. Like Ferguson definitely needs Dak, and as far as the defensive tackle position, fun fact, Cooper Beebe actually was recruited to college as a defensive tackle. So, hey, they're talking about some two-way players with Travis Hunter coming in. Maybe we can use Beebe in some sets and defensive tackle or something, put him in there. Nah, kidding, but we've got something with Cooper Beebe for sure. Brock Hoffman showed a little bit. TJ Bass as well is another depth piece that showed some. And finally, thank the Lord, somebody poached Josh Ball off of our practice squad.
Oh yeah.
Thank
So we don't have to go down
we don't
that.
have to deal with that.
Yeah, we don't have to roll down that. Here you can see.
Wingspan Willetsko still there though.
Yeah, Wingspan
Get
Willetsko's-
sound on this. Get sound on this.
Oh shoot. Okay, give me a quick sec.
Because this is the clip that I saw, and it's the sound bite is what EJ said.
That's funny, man.
Do you want me to go away from inside baseball with that? Okay,
Yeah, just give me
go.
a quick sec here. I just got
So AJ's teeing up the Brock Hoffman PP touch. It was on
No
Payne,
nose.
and Payne turned around and threw a hook after him. We're like, what are you doing? You can't punch, but someone grabs your dick, and I think punching's okay.
Completely warranted.
Restart.
Who comes in at the end? Is that Terrence Steele? Yeah, I always thought that was so weird because this is on a field goal. Terrence Steele plays on the left side and on field goals. I didn't realize that until this
He
past
ripped
week.
and twisted.
Well,
that's funny, man.
Here's the thing: you do what you gotta do to piss off the other team. I don't want a full line of those guys, but I want one of them.
Yeah,
and it looks like Hoffman's that dude.
You need a wild card.
yeah.
I think a wild card on the line is okay.
Yeah.
Go down and check if Ferguson has a rating. I'm interested to see that.
Oh, he'll have a rating. There he is. So for tight ends, I think I'd love for the Cowboys to go out there and I don't know that the guy exists this year, but you just look at what some of these guys can do. Brock Bowers, obviously Kelsey, and then Trey McBride, yeah.
George Kittle,
Laporta. The list goes on.
Mm-hmm.
You get one of those guys in there who essentially is just a receiver. Like, fuck his blocking ability. We're not really going to be using him in that position, or if it is, it's going to be very rare. Still like him and have size, but that's another option for helping out CeeDee Lamb, and then also enhancing the ability of the wide receivers that are on the team, as well as the running back situation. So I'm not against not moving on from Ferguson, but let's add another clone to the fire, right? Like, let's see what can happen.
Sorry to cut you off. The Falcons actually picked up Kyle Pitts' fifth-year option. They pick at 14. We pick at 12. Drop back a couple spots. They give us Kyle Pitts. I would be for that because I personally think that you could at least use Kyle Pitts as a big X receiver, even if he doesn't work as tight end, and that could kind of aid you in that wide receiver problem you have. I know Kyle Pitts has been seriously underwhelming, but he hasn't had a quarterback like Dak Prescott, barring obviously that he is healthy coming back and whatnot, but we'll see.
You could bring Pitts in, and you could carry guys' gear and stuff to and from the locker room. I mean, you need somebody to do that.
Exactly, man.
Yeah, dude,
Don't always put it all on Jonathan Mingo's shoulders. Come on, bring in Kyle Pitts. We need some locker room guys.
Well, I do want to
that can carry multiple pads.
Well,
multiple pads.
I do want to see Mingo with someone like Dak. I mean, obviously, when you have Vanilla Rush or broken down car Rush throwing a Mingo, we're not really seeing that type of.
I agree. I would love to see Jonathan. We were looking at him in his draft year, and I'd love to see him do well.
Yep.
It's just a very Cowboys thing to be like, oh, we're going to wait and see how this player develops this year.
I know.
And then we're going to maybe look at what our options are next year, rather than be like, who gives a fuck if that guy is there at number 2 or whatever the spot might be, go out there and draft him. You see what a guy like Xavier Worthy could do. Sure, he was all pretty much it was all about his speed. But it doesn't matter. The kid can take a fucking top off, and then he can also catch a ball when he needs to. Had a couple really good games there. It's just a type of game-changing receiver. And perhaps the Cowboys have something like that, but we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I'd rather the Cowboys use a 4th-round pick and move up in the 3rd round a few spots and get someone they liked in the 3rd round than these flyers on players. Like, I think we also all have just a bad taste in our mouth. We wasted a 4th-round pick on Trey Lance, like EJ brought up earlier in the show. It would have made sense if they were trying to use Trey Lance to then use him as some sort of trade bait or anything.
Or Band-Aid QB if they felt,
Yeah, at all. So, and then we go and we trade another 4th-round pick for Mingo in kind of a wasted season, where last year we could have drafted Bucky Irving with the 4th pick. We could have drafted Braylon Allen with the 4th pick. Like, there was dudes that would have instantly helped out the Dallas Cowboys from week 1 of this season, but instead they had Trey Lance sit on the bench for a full year. I just don't want that to repeat with Mingo, and I think Mingo has a better chance to pan out and help on the team than Trey Lance did, but it's still the waiver is still out on that.
I don't want that, and this is the move that the Cowboys do, that the front office will do, is they'll use that as the excuse as to why they didn't make a move on a wide receiver who maybe coming into the league had the kind of the same scouting report, except for we've seen what Mingo did. He didn't really jump off the page in the NFL yet, still has a long career potentially ahead of him. But for me, I'm always like, okay, if that doesn't happen, then I'd rather take the chance on this other guy who, if he's going to be the same as Mingo, okay, so be it. But if his ceiling is just, the potential is higher there. I mean, look what fucking Neighbors did in New York. Now, mind you, he was a top wide receiver.
Neighbors was
6 overall
I was so
pick.
close to putting Neighbors as my wide receiver 1. He's that good.
There was a lot of people that did have Neighbors ahead of Marvin Harrison. There was, and some people said they were crazy, but the guy's talented.
Yeah, he just needs.
In hindsight, he definitely
just needs a football team.
He can just win more ways than Marvin Harrison Jr. can.
But
that's a worse quarterback. So
it wasn't necessarily a fair comparison, like Ant mentioned, but I just mean they're
Mingo and Neighbors. I mean, pretty spot.
No, not that. I meant with the 12th pick and the 6th. Like, if the wide receiver's there, if there's a wide receiver like that in the 1st round, look how that can also ignite an offense.
Yeah, for sure.
People always bring up the Michigan kids for the Cowboys, like we're out on Michigan kids. I'm out on Ole Miss wide receivers. Don't show me one. The last ones that were good was AJ Brown and DK Metcalf. How long ago was that? You know what I mean? So I'm like, nah. So there's another one coming up. Trey Harris is probably going to get a couple people on his side. He's a top 3 wide receiver in the class. I don't see it with him, but beside the point.
What do you mean? DK Metcalf was just drafted 2 years ago, right?
Yeah,
that's how fast
time feels.
That's how time feels.
That's how time feels. It's like I've only had Metcalf on my fantasy team. Wait a sec, he's been in the league for 7 years now.
Yeah, I know.
It is crazy.
He's still a rookie to me. Damn it.
Should we get into this coach talk or?
Yeah, totally. I think. Look, we kind of dabbled. We will obviously, hopefully, be able to get you back if you'll have us or you'll come back on. I don't know because Adam's. I know how Adam's been irking you on this cast so far, spelling your name wrong and all that.
Yeah, man.
If you'll have us, AJ's talking to you like we're trying to marry you.
AJ's talking to you.
If you'll take us.
AJ's talking to you like he's about ready to Brock Hoffman your fucking dick there.
Hey, man, you know the saying, they say in a world of blind, the one-eyed guy is king. So
yeah.
I'm coming. I might only be one-eyed, but
you're with us. Hey, are you calling us all blind?
hey, man.
I'm excited to do.
Take it how you see it.
What I'm trying to say.
I guess you can't see it because you're blind.
What I'm trying to. Before the porn bots come in, what I'm trying to say is, we'll get you back on, and we will do some draft talk because look, that's pretty much the biggest thing that's going to be on the menu post these playoffs, I assume.
Playoffs.
Cowboys don't do free agency, so don't even waste your time with that.
Right? No shit.
We don't have any money to fucking work in free agency, and they're too lazy because of all the money they're fucking making to even try to like be smart with their fucking cap.
And was this the lowest season of screech shots for you guys thus far?
Yeah,
by a long shot.
Well, we did more screech shots on night one of draft night than we did all season this year.
I think one night of draft night one of draft night and Super Bowl last year, I think we doubled the amount of screenshots than we had all season.
Oh yeah.
Why I'll put this out there. So next year we have it. You can clip this. Every sack that Mozzie gets over 4 sacks next year, I will do a screenshot on your guys' show.
Oh,
so
wow.
If he gets 5 sacks, I'm doing 1. If he gets 6, I'm doing 2.
Whoa.
Okay. So what we'll do...
DJ knows he's not going to have to do any.
Yeah. There you go.
So we're going to have to send you down a bottle of Screech then.
Yeah,
Yes,
I don't
sir.
know if you could find it anywhere there.
I don't think... I think
Probably
it's
not,
a...
but
We
Yeah,
found
we'll
it.
see.
Hey, when we were in San Francisco and Boots and I went up to the bar, they had it behind the bar, dude.
Which is
Of course
crazy.
that place had it. They have fucking carpet on the walls. They have all the fucking obscure drinks. That place was definitely used as a sex house in the 70s. Now, Dallas Cowboys timeline for Mike McCarthy's decision revealed. So first of all, I think what we can do is just talk about the obvious, and then we can go from there. Talk about all other teams too. But the obvious thing here, guys, is Dallas Cowboys stopped the Chicago Bears from allowing them to talk to Mike McCarthy, and they have until midnight, like a Cinderella story, on
Midnight with McCarthy.
Is it the 14th of January?
14th, yes.
And when that happens, Mike McCarthy turns into a fucking Whataburger.
He turns into a frog eating a
He
Whataburger.
turns into a frog. He turns into a Frog-a-burger.
A Frog-a-burger. But yeah,
But
like
the funniest thing about this though, like talking about how they didn't want how they declined Chicago from being able to interview him. Jerry Jones came out and was quoted saying, "Well, if you don't want to be here, well then go to interviews and go somewhere else." But then declines
you
his
block
chance. Yeah, but then you block him. I just don't understand it. You say one thing and then do the complete opposite. It's just very Jerry Jones.
the sad part is Jerry
Crack 'em if you
Jones,
got
I'm
'em.
afraid, blocks better than Zach Martin now.
yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Hey,
Um,
I got a 100% success
That's a Hall
rate.
of Famer. That's a Hall of Famer, EJ.
Yeah.
You respect
Jerry
him.
Jones
That
is a Hall of Famer.
That's true. Hey,
No,
touche.
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 Hey,
The
touche,
headline
Megan,
I'm
man.
waiting to see is Mike McCarthy, new GM of Whataburger.
Yeah. And the fucking starting lineup is the All-American.
He's in
cheese.
commercials. I'm Mike McCarthy, former head coach
Yeah.
Hi,
Or,
welcome. I'm Mike McCarthy, former head
Mark
coach.
McCarthy.
Oh, Mark McCarthy,
and
former.
former Super Bowl
No,
champion.
no, no. If Mike McCarthy's a former head coach of Dallas, he'll be doing a fucking burger commercial for Harvey's or for like In-N-Out maybe.
If I'm
That's a
gonna
great picture of. That's a great for the Cowboys. You think In and Out?
No.
But
no. If
but
he was
Whataburger's
Whataburger country,
it's
dude.
Texas.
So I just meant if he wasn't on Cowboys anymore. For sure he gets re-signed in Dallas. He's getting that Whataburger contract that he wants.
But this is just Dallas controlling the narrative. Obviously, it's one of two things. They either are not serious about McCarthy, but don't want him to go because then that would kind of shine a light on, oh, is Mike McCarthy going to leave the Cowboys? And they don't want the story to be written that way. What they want to do is either
control the headlines,
sign another coach before that date, then release him, and then they release Mike McCarthy, right? Or they're dead set on bringing Mike McCarthy back.
Yeah. It seems
One of those two
wonder if the-
scenarios.
Yeah.
I wonder if the plan is to bring Mike McCarthy back, but have a new play caller.
They have
Because
to. I mean, that's what
ever
we
since-
want.
Yep.
Ever since Mike has took over the play calling, we've been a good offense as far as in between the 20s. We can
Yes.
move the ball. It's when we
Right.
get to the zone, we are abysmal. We are bad, and that needs to get fixed. That's the difference between a good team and a great team.
Well, EJ, someone said, and remind me after I say this, but they mentioned they heard, or maybe it might have been Chima, but he said that the Cowboys kind of slow down play once they get into the kicker's range because they know, okay, well, at least we got an easy 3.
It was big fella Chris.
Oh, it was big fella Chris.
Chris
Okay,
on
sorry.
Cowboys Up
Chris, shout out Chris.
Dallas Cowboys Up
Shout out.
Cowboys Up podcast.
Shout out Cowboys.
Yeah,
up.
he I think Mikey
And
on
after
the-
he said that, it
I
seemed
couldn't-
evident a little bit.
It's like once
Then
you
you couldn't
see,
stop
once,
seeing
yeah,
it.
Once you see
Yeah.
something, you can't unseen it, and it's exactly what happens. You get over,
It's
you
like,
get
well,
into
we
that
got a
range.
guaranteed 3 points. Why
Yeah.
would we try to do anything creative now?
It's like after the 30-yard line, Cowboys can move into the red zone, and then it's like, okay, let's now open up the random playbook. And hey, you spin the wheel, whatever we land on, we gotta call.
Yeah. And that was the one thing with Dak, even when Dak was still there this year, it was very evident that the Cowboys were having issues in the red zone, and especially not only not scoring in the red zone, but turning the ball over in the red zone. That was the problem.
Like when you look at it being like there's just possibly, and again, with age, you kind of, I guess I should say this, what other football team has a coach the same age or older than Mike McCarthy that's the offensive play caller as well? Like when you get to a point, there could be just too much things that you have to handle. And I just think with the way that the way that the league's going and the way that the teams are scheming and you have all this other talent that's coming in on the coaching side, like it can just be a little bit overwhelming. It doesn't mean he's a bad head coach. It's just you need to have the supporting cast around you so that your team can actually do the job that they need to do in the areas that they need to do it, like the red zone. And
I don't know. I'll just speak for myself. I was really hoping if we retained Mike McCarthy that Brian Daboll would have been fired from the Giants so we could pick him up as the OC, because he's a guy that knows how to scheme not only for the wide receiver and everybody else, but for the quarterback and make it easier on him, use him in some running game and just figure out stuff like that. But now with what it looks like, I don't know that you're going to be able to poach any other offensive coordinator, because it has to be a lateral, like you have to be going up the chains.
Right.
And I just,
who's there? Who?
Exactly.
Yeah. Here's the other thing. I mean, they could potentially do it in-house, but my biggest point, I think, is like there is still the allure of coaching for the Dallas Cowboys in whatever position that is. Like, of course, that's not going to necessarily go away anytime soon. However, I don't think it quite has the magic as it used to. And I think the idea of working with a guy like Jerry Jones, we've seen this shift in the NFL going more youthful, even if there are a lot of pillars that are still, some of those older guys, the 60-year-old plus coaches. And that's totally, they have their place. I'm not trying to say that they don't. But I think that that's what the Cowboys are they kind of have this kryptonite there with Jerry Jones, where no guy like a Ben Johnson, and I know that he probably wouldn't sign with the Cowboys anyways, but a more youthful guy coming in to be a coach probably is not going to want to work with a guy like Jerry Jones who wants control of the football team. They're going to want to have a 51 or 50-50 split on the say of what they get to do with their team.
But with these younger guys, they haven't been in the league as long. They don't know what always works. And the thing is, they're willing to deviate from the course and try to experiment. And that's the good thing about it. These older guys that have been like in the league, they've worked 10 plus years. They're stuck in their ways because they're like, this can work, this can work, this can work. And they still try to fit that square peg into a circle, inlet. And it's like, dude, it's not working anymore. It has worked. It's not working anymore.
Yeah.
Adjust your course and figure out what you got to do differently. And listen to your damn players. If CeeDee Lamb came to him last year and that's when it really opened up, apparently, this is what I've read, you've got to be willing to go back to the drawing board this year and say, hey, this stuff isn't working anymore. We got to figure out what to do.
Yep.
Do you have a plan? Do you have a plan? Do you have a plan? John Gruden, I watched his show quite a bit, and he had this story about where whenever he was working under the Green Bay's legendary coach, and there was quite a few people. Andy Reid was one of them, and they would all come in, and they'd come in with their new plays and all this stuff and try to get it into the the playbook for that week. And that's what you need. You don't need yes men. You need guys that go against the grain and want to better your team and elevate themselves. If you got a guy that's fine with his position, then that's one thing. But if you got a guy that wants to be a head coach someday, then they're going to work. They're going to give you 200 extra% because they're trying to elevate themselves. That's what you need. And I don't think that Jerry is willing to detach his name from a lot of this stuff and hire new innovative people. And that's what's really gone wrong, in my opinion.
Well, the issue too with that is there's no one in the line to become the Cowboys head coach in-house. Like
Deion Sanders.
Say they did get rid of Mike McCarthy. There's no one behind him to then take it, right?
Yeah, I think that
and
they
just before
think
we
Al Harris
just before we jump into anything, Andy Reid calls plays. Sean Payton also calls plays.
Yeah. So okay.
I
so
was thinking of Sean
coaches
Payton.
and
coaches that are the same age as Mike McCarthy that call plays but are very successful.
well, and so that's what
I
Ultra
guess Sean Payton has one Super Bowl, so he's kind of tied with McCarthy a little bit.
Ultra Cowboy said Andy Reid 66, and then he was gonna. The difference with like Andy Reid, and everyone's kind of they're making jokes in the thing like Andy Reid will steal your nuggets, and nobody's better than Grandpa Reid. Like, and what you were talking about with Andy Reid and being on that team, and everyone brings their playbooks in. You heard that story where Andy Reid took a play from the janitor of the Kansas City Chiefs facility. He said, "Hey, I have an idea for a play," and he gave it to Andy Reid, and then Andy Reid took that and installed it, and they actually used it in a game. You hear him talking to the players, and they're doing these like Pikachu plays where they're all running like, so they're not only having fun, but you're exactly right, EJ. You're listening to your players on what's working, and then he's adapting it and then using it in a situation or when you could possibly have this as a winning play for that scenario. That's just the creativity from that play calling, and not every single head coach or offensive coordinator will have that, and that's why it's such a tough job to go with, and you want to look at the younger guys who are thinking outside the box. We obviously know Mike McCarthy doesn't have that type of capacity to do that.
Yeah, when you look at a guy like Turpin, and maybe it's just my drunken eyes by fourth quarter, and I don't see this nor remember it.
Not the last couple games. You weren't drunk by fourth quarter the last few games.
That's what I'm saying.
No, we were. I think the last 2 games were the most sober we've ever been.
It's a sobering experience. It was a sobering experience. Okay.
Our last two games. At the end of the game, I was like, "Wow, I think I'm sober."
Yeah, I've gone.
But utilizing like Turpin, for example, I always say like streak him, and then Anth always rebuts with no. Let's give him some more in routes or slants.
Drags.
Sorry,
drags.
Drags. Yeah. What?
Yeah, the little drags.
Did like? Was he being underutilized in that? And is that like? Because for me, whenever he was on the field, I kind of guessed he was going to do a jet sweep or a fake jet sweep, or they were going to do some sort of fucking trickery. It did change in, I would say, maybe the last, 4 to 6 games of the season.
Because CeeDee Lamb was out, and he was playing CeeDee Lamb. He was in CeeDee Lamb's spot of the field.
Yeah.
Like, you've seen him running some, the last game, you've seen him running some of CeeDee Lamb's routes, but it's like, why not have both of them doing that?
Well, I just think
when they're both on the field.
You have this dude with such a unique talent, then it's like, okay, even
who's
like,
also on a contract here.
Sure. Even still, like he's been prominent with the Cowboys, I would say, in terms of like noticing, okay, this guy's got speed and he can maybe do something out there for the last 3 years. But by now you'd expect, like, we have, 10 plays that we run when he's in there and it fucks up the defense because they don't know what he's going to be doing. And then you hit him on that large play with whatever it would be. Or he's just in there running those routes to help CeeDee Lamb, or he's open and so he's getting the ball more. But I didn't really see the Cowboys fully utilize his talents and abilities. And the unfortunate thing with speed is, like, that's going to go first, basically, for NFL.
And he's like, what, 20? I think he's 27.
He's not over the hill at all. No way.
Nah, he's still got so much speed. But back when the Jason Garrett days were upon us in Cowboys land, there was a saying that Jason Garrett was, always saying, we want to do what we do. Not worried about what the opponent is doing. We're worried about what we're doing. And that kind of mentality seems to have carried over a little bit with this regime, where it's like, we do what we do. Even if it's getting stopped, we're going to continue to do. No, that's not how it works in the real world. If it's not working, you've got to adjust. And I don't think that they're a good adjusting team. And likewise, to that same sentiment with what you're saying about Kevontae Turpin, it's like, you've got a guy that's a game breaker that can return punts and kicks, but that's not all he can do. We saw whenever Dak originally went down, in the very next game, Kevontae Turpin took a 10 air yard pass all the way to the freaking end zone. Like, this guy has some game-breaking speed. He can be used in route concepts and free him from DBs getting their hands on him. All you have to do is use those bunch formations. All you have to do is allow a tight end in front of him to hit those little pick plays. It's like, so strange how they use their good players, and they want to say, "Oh, we're going to do what we do," but it's not working. You've got to adjust, and that's the biggest thing with this offense that kills me about it. Is we're never adjusting, we're never using our players in the best way possible, except for CeeDee Lamb here and there. We'll use him the best way possible for 3 games, and then 4 games after that, it's like, what the hell? This isn't even the same shit we've been seeing. And then it's back to the 3 games again for a little bit, and then it irks me.
The offensive consistency is like super, but I would say that that's kind of been not been consistent through our different offensive coordinators from Vanilla Pudding there, Kellen Moore. But if we talking about coaches here, what are the chances that you think Mike McCarthy's back? How many years do you think that they'd give him if that's the case? And this is 2-pronged. And then if it's not Mike McCarthy, who do you think has an actual realistic chance of signing with the Cowboys? And when I say chance, I don't mean like you pick the 99 overall coach and like, oh, he has a chance. Like the guys who because I think I heard you say that you don't think Ben Johnson would consider signing with the Cowboys. So right guys who we think actually could sign with them or would.
Yeah, right now I'm about 70%. 30% not with Mike McCarthy coming back. So 70% that he will come back. Don't know what capacity that is. If he's just a head coach, not the play caller, if he still gets the play calling stuff. I think that Schottenheimer he's more like the opposite. 30% chance that he's going to be back, 70% that he's not going to.
As the OC, right?
What that means. Yeah, exactly. As the OC. Now, if let's say Mike McCarthy is out, I see probably 2 names that really strike out to me is Wes Phillips, Wade Phillips' son, current offensive coordinator for another team. And then can't even remember his first name, Liam Cohen, the Buccaneers offensive coordinator. He's a guy that came just this past year as an OC, so it would be a quick jump from an OC to a head coach, but he's had that offense for the Buccaneers really humming. He's a guy that has the Shanahan coaching tree experience as well. Okay. And I think that he's definitely a name to watch for.
Looks like a fucking nerd, though. Bring him up.
He does look like a nerd. He does look like a nerd. But sometimes the nerds are the best guys because they're the analytical guys. The guys always trying to scheme their players in the best positions possible. I'm interested to see. I haven't really been super laser focused in what's happening in Miami. But if Miami were to let go of Daniels, I would seriously consider taking him. If it's as an OC, that would be amazing under Mike McCarthy. If it's the head coach, hey, I'm all for that as well. I
don't want anything to do with this guy. I don't want anything to do with. No, I'm vetoing that pick.
Okay,
he's not allowed anywhere. He's not allowed. I don't mind the guy with the beard.
Left is Liam Cohen. Right is Wes Phillips.
Okay, give me Wes Phillips. They kind of both look the same. Like I was like, oh, he looks better when he's grown his beard out. But
I don't know. Liam Cohen.
And another thing is, I don't know if Wade Phillips is coaching in the NFL right now. But imagine Wes Phillips comes for the head coach. He brings his dad as the DC.
Is that his kid?
Yeah, that is. That might be kind of nice. Yeah.
And which one is that? Is that Tampa Bay dork or the beardo?
No, the other guy.
Okay, I like the looks of.
Is he with
I like the looks of the beard guy.
Yeah, we like Midwest trucker.
That's Wes Phillips.
Yeah, Wes Phillips looks like a Midwest trucker.
I always liked Wade Phillips. I know a lot of people didn't like Wade Phillips because people thought he was soft as a head coach, but he was a great defensive coordinator. So hey, give me Beardo Phillips for sure.
He's with the Vikings offense, so he's under another Shanahan guy.
Interesting. He's an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So you're saying that
in a family of defensive minds, he went the opposite way.
So you're saying,
but that's kind of cool, right? Like,
yeah.
Sorry, Ad.
I was gonna say just what we're talking about, head coach, not OC, right? Like you're thinking he's in talks. Head coach position.
Yeah, because
you can't in the NFL. You cannot go from OC to OC unless
you can't poach.
Yeah, exactly. You can't poach like
Unless
that.
the contract
Even if you offer
runs
them
up,
more
right?
money, it's like a weird thing. Ultra Cowboy saying John Gruden. I personally am a big fan of John Gruden. It's the antics behind him because last time we saw him in the league, there was some racial stuff that was said. I'm not brushed up on it all.
Well, do you want to welcome that
up to
back
date,
to the
but-
team, right? Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
Well,
there you go.
Ultra Cowboy was saying they will hire John Gruden. Ian Rappaport said a couple of teams are vetting him, but no interviews have been leaked, which means the team is Dallas.
I just and John Gruden, exactly what I said earlier, is the type of coach that would go to Dallas because he has no other choice. He would go to Dallas because he has no other choice.
I personally would like John Gruden. I'll just put it on the table.
Well, someone also mentioned that with Pierce getting fired from Vegas and him leaving Vegas still on decent terms with Al Davis, could you see John Gruden going back and making a comeback to Vegas?
So yeah, they're just the same owners there and management, so I don't see that. I would be interested in seeing, because it seems like there's a real possibility Mike McCarthy still comes back and Mike Zimmer just says, I'm done. And it's not anything about him being fired, anything. There's a real possibility of that. I wonder if the Rex Ryan thing could come back up. He has had some head coach interviews, though.
Yeah, with the Jets.
Yeah, with the Jets, former
Which
team
is
that
weird.
he coached. So we'll see what happens with that. But if John Gruden comes as the head coach, you're talking about a new offensive coordinator as well, somebody that's probably an up-and-coming guy. He'll probably talk to some of his friends in the league like, hey, is there a wide receiver coach? Is there a quarterback coach that seems like he's a bright guy that I can get in here? Or maybe a retread. And then you're talking about maybe a defensive coordinator for Rex Ryan a year after he really wanted the job coming in here for John Gruden.
What are our chances of getting Belichick? I know it's
hey,
on
you know
TV.
what?
That's the joke.
Exactly.
Someone sent out a
That's
offer.
that's the joke, guys.
The thing that's going on
joke.
right now, and I don't know if it was just fake news when I saw it, but Tom Brady apparently has reached out to Belichick about possibly not going to North Carolina and to come in and be the head coach of the Raiders. And I saw that just before we went live. I don't know how accurate that is.
Hang on, though. Speaking of Raiders,
Watching Jaden Daniels on film. That's it. I just sit here watching Jaden Daniels, and I start sweating. My heart starts beating. Watching him run around, this guy's freaking awesome.
so that's the. Here's the thing. You
I'm
love
sold. Get him.
you love Gruden. You love
The head
Gruden
coach
for.
getting sweaty?
I know you love
I'm
Gruden.
sold.
I love Gruden for his passion. And when I sit there and I see these clips come out of the Dan Campbell from the Detroit Lions,
fuck, man.
and he is just so fucking passionate. Like,
Yeah, I'll
he'll-
run through a wall for that guy.
Hell,
And
I'm
not
sit-
even a fucking Lions fan.
I'm sitting there eating my
sounds like you
Christmas.
are.
I'm sitting there eating my Christmas chocolates, fucking just growing a spare tire, and he's firing me up, almost getting me off the couch. Almost getting me off the couch. But you know what I mean? Like,
Are you
there
getting
are
off the couch
different-
and
there
reaching
are-
for the lotion or just off the couch?
look, oh, the lotion's within arm's reach.
AJ goes dry. Who are we kidding?
There's lotion within arm's reach, guys. Don't, not a quitter.
Don't twist
The
that.
thing with 2 points, John Gruden has been on record to say that Dak Prescott is one of his favorite quarterbacks in the league. He loved interviewing him pre-draft process when he was breaking down film with rookie quarterbacks coming in. And then the second thing is a dark horse team or a dark horse coach that could come back and be your coach if Mike McCarthy does get released or whatever. The contract is going to expire. If they don't bring him back, it's not really a firing. It's just a soft firing.
Right.
Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll is a legitimate option. He said that he wants to come back and coach to some capacity. He could also be a Cowboys coach. I don't know if they really want a guy like Pete Carroll because it seems like he has some words and personnel and stuff like that, but he's a dark horse guy that I want to mention.
I mean, we could talk about this till we're blue in the face, but we all know what's going to happen.
Mike McCarthy's getting re-signed.
Mike McCarthy's coming back.
But I will say-
mean, what does you
I'm
guys?
70-30 with Mike. Like
That's
I
what
said.
my gut tells me. My gut tells me Mike McCarthy's
But
coming
here-
back.
I think the more, and we're gonna find out. I believe we'll find out before the 14th. What's really?
I think this Saturday. Saturday.
Really, this Saturday.
Yep.
What's really in it for me is if they sign him, does that still have still mean the door's open for an offensive coordinator to come in, or is he gonna just kind of?
I feel like if he's re-signed, he's going to keep doing
the same.
I feel like he's going to keep calling the plays. I really do. Which none of us want.
Fuck you, Ant.
We want.
Fuck you, Ant.
I just feel like I don't think he feels like it's his fault that the Cowboys had the season they did. I feel like he, and I mean, we also got to agree, he didn't get much help going into the season. He didn't by the general manager, by the owner, by the team, right? He kind of was served up a bullshit season. The year before, they had a good offense with the players they needed. I think if they go into the draft and get a couple solid pieces, target offense early in the draft, I think he'll have a better year as an offensive play caller.
The only way I see him coming back as a play caller is if it's a 1-year deal. I think the Joneses would say, hey, 1-year deal, you can be the offense, you can be the play caller, but that's all you have. If you don't make it, this is a make it or break it year. If you don't make it, you're done.
Why?
If they come back with a 3-year deal, though, I think you're going to see a new offensive coordinator.
Well, I think, and I think like he didn't get like this would be obviously it's the most Cowboys thing to do. He didn't get re-signed before the season. They waited all this time. They cock block him during the Bears wanting to talk to somebody, like, and then they re-sign him. It's like, why the fuck
Headlines.
are you why the fuck are you doing all this stuff anyways? Like,
Jerry wants to stay in the headlines.
Yeah, exactly. And like, so it is the most Cowboys thing to do to re-sign Mike McCarthy. And it could also be like if you're looking at it as a business with that, that's how Jerry looks at it, is like, look, I'm going to hold my options here right until the end. We don't know who they're talking to. We don't know what's going on. Like, it doesn't make sense necessarily for him to go out and drive his price up with another team, and then Jerry has to pay more, where if they're already 80% going to sign Mike McCarthy, possibly they want to wait this next week while things are heating up. Because right now, I feel like there are so many vacant coaching spots right now, and there's not a lot of coaches that could be like the really potential head coaches in the NFL.
Because all the coaches that you want are still in the fucking...
I should say this. My point is, there's other teams right now that have better cap room, better control, and more to work with than what the Cowboys have at the moment, that a lot of like the top coaches that are available are probably going to go to those teams.
For their incentive.
Yeah.
Well, here's the first thing. Jerry Jones is not going to come out and just say, we're firing Mike McCarthy, we're starting our hiring process. He's not going to do that until the deadline passes, which is the 14th. So don't expect that. 2, Jerry Jones is old. I seriously doubt he wants to get a guy who's never been a head coach in the building and possibly put all of his eggs in that basket as maybe his last opportunity to win a Super Bowl. I think he wants a guy that's been there, done that, to bring in and have that possibility and that hope. Because I really think that he has this type of hopium where he thinks, oh, this guy's won a Super Bowl before. Lightning can strike twice. You know what I mean? And I just don't think that he's going to hire anybody worth a damn as far as new head coaches go.
I don't hate Mike coming back as a coach. I just think we need some sort of, even if it's not an official offensive coordinator position, I would love someone to come in and just offer a little bit of looking at the player skill from a set of new eyes and trying to inject some different plays or something special. The Cowboys just have a very kind of bland or plain playbook. And it has been successful, don't get me wrong. They do move the ball successfully. But then there's this, we talked about it before, this red zone issue that just causes them to not give the ball away.
You remember what happened with the Nolan thing. Nolan was Mike McCarthy's guy. He brought him in. He was horrible. Then the Joneses said, we're not doing that. We're going to conduct the interview process. Whatever defensive coordinator you get is your defensive coordinator. Remember, they also said Kellen Moore is your offensive coordinator. He only moved after a mutual agreement to move whenever Mike came to them and was like, hey, I think I can call these plays better. I think he's holding this back. And so I think this time around, if Mike does come back, I seriously do believe they're going to say, listen, we like you as a head coach. Play calling has been a problem with us in the red zone. We have to go a different direction. We're going to hold the interviews. Whatever guy you get, because I seriously don't think you have any other options except for Dallas. Now, we'll see if they do allow him to interview with the Bears and the Bears somehow like him. You know, maybe he does hold a little bit more leverage in this situation than we think. But as of right now, I think that the Joneses actually do hold the leverage.
Well, guys, I mean, we are going into wild card. It's been, 4 years since the Cowboys have not been going into this race?
2020 was the last time.
Yeah. I mean, let's not dwell on that too much, but let's kind of pick it up a little.
Let's dwell on it.
Dwell it. But I also dwell as much as you need to. But I also want to
I'm all dwelled out.
I want to just look at both AFC, NFC wildcard games here. Is there anyone that stands out for you as the one that you really want to watch this weekend?
The Eagles lose. That's the only game that I'm going to feel invested in is hopefully watching the Eagles lose. That's it.
And against Brent Packer guys, Packers.
Well, besides the Eagles, I just want to watch good football. Eagles, I hope they get absolutely skull crushed, but besides that, I just want to watch good football.
Well, look, I'll say this too. I do want to see, after the fucking stuff that the commie fans have been saying to us in our chats, I want to see the Commanders lose as well in the first
They're
round.
going to lose. The Commanders are going to lose.
Them.
Yeah, the Commanders are going to lose.
These are my predictions. Vikings over Rams, Buccaneers over Commanders. Packers make it super close with the Eagles, but the Eagles pull it out. I want it to be the Eagles. I want an Eagles loss, but I just don't see it.
They're good this year.
I think that Love is overhyped, and we'll see. It doesn't sound like they're going to have Christian Watson either. Not that he really matters for that offense anyways. He drops a lot of balls. But, I don't know. I really hope that it's just like Eagles get dominated, Commanders get dominated, and then Vikings go on a run. I would really like to see the Vikings in the Super Bowl unless it's against the Chiefs, because I feel like if the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl, they're going to win against the Vikings. If it's the Chiefs versus anybody, I'd rather the Lions. I feel like they have that revenge mentality from that Week 1 loss in them. And, I don't know. I'd really like the Vikings, though. I feel like they're a sneaky good team offensively, defensively. Really just hinges upon Sam Darnold.
And now by not winning last week, they have to fight again. They're the underdogs again. They got that underdog mentality.
Which I like watching underdog. I just wanted, before we move on to
we're still talking to NFC.
Yeah, no, I said before we move on to you guys mentioning something, I just wanted to ask EJ a question, because Brent Packer guy shows up every single week. So I do like to show love to the chat, which I haven't been interjecting as much because we have a guest on.
Go on with it. Okay. Holy shit.
So Brent Packer guy says, okay, I like that guy until he said Love is overhyped when y'all want to keep Trey Lance. So I just want to give EJ the chance to comment on Jordan Love.
Listen, Love is in that range of a top 12 quarterback in the NFL. Love down the stretch last season got completely overhyped because of the tear he was on. And he was on a tear the end of the season last year. Coming into this season, though, he's throwing some bad interception. He's not very accurate where you want him to be at this part of his career. I still think that Love has plenty of time to develop and be a good NFL quarterback, and especially with Matt LaFleur. He's such a good coach. He schemes his guys well. I like the Packers as a team, man. I really do. I just don't know that they're going to come into the link and beat the Eagles. That's my thing. And I think they're going to make it a close game. They're going to want that revenge game, the Brazil game. Remember that early in the season. But it's tough. Yeah, it's tough.
This is what I hope for is I want to see Lions Vikings again. I think that would just be fun. So for that to happen, I believe the Eagles need to win, and that would make the Vikings the lowest seed moving on. If the Buccaneers do beat the Commanders and the Vikings beat the Rams, but
or you could see Lions Vikings then in the NFC Championship if they don't play in the divisional.
Okay, for sure. Yep. Yeah, and I don't want I can't move that far ahead with my my mind math. But honestly,
I didn't even think about that. Yeah. So if the Commanders actually beat the Bucs, it's not a bad thing, because the Vikings will probably beat the Rams, and the Vikings have another shot against the Eagles, which if the Eagles somehow met up with the Commanders, I think the Eagles blow out the Commanders.
Oh, probably. So. Yeah. Look, I feel the Commanders, looking at this chart, I think the Commanders are maybe the weakest team coming in, or at least
100%.
the most
100%.
vulnerable team.
Buccaneers are kind of there.
I
but
would say
yeah.
Commanders Bucks are very close to being the, as we're talking, the 7-10 team. Yeah, this is what happens.
Hey, we're
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
allowed to have an opinion, Anth.
Yeah.
I agree. But fuck the Commanders. They suck, and I don't think they're gonna make it past the wild card round.
For me,
and another thing is like watch those offensive coordinators, Vikings and Buccaneers here that I mentioned earlier. These two guys are gonna get some head coach interviews based on what they do in the playoffs.
Playoffs.
Yeah, I just feel like Commanders started the season out much stronger than they really ended it, and it's obviously not the way that you want to go heading into playoffs.
Playoffs.
Hey, Brent Packer guy. I just want to shout out Brent Packer guy. He's always here. I'm a fucking Packer fan this weekend, son.
Yeah, we're all
Let's
Packer.
Go.
We're all Packer fans.
Let's go.
I was going to say I'm in agreement with Rolando Rodriguez. Cowboys can fan if the Eagles and Washington lose. It's the best wild card week ever. Cheers, crack 'em if you got 'em. So,
well, if that happens, I'm going to spend the next 24 hours going back through chats and videos to have to re-comment on Commanders and Eagles fan stuff that they've said in the last 3 weeks. So it wouldn't be great for me because I'll be busy for 2 to 3 days following, but it would be nice.
Sorry, AJ just had a second there.
I don't know. I accidentally exited that, but now we can look at AFC quickly here. Which AFC. Do you think the NFC or AFC is the tougher conference?
Oh, man.
I think the NFC has more wild card. Like any of those teams can go on a run. I personally think the AFC is pretty point blank. Ravens are going to beat the Steelers. Bills are going to beat the Broncos. Texans are going to beat the Chargers.
You think like the NFC has that wow factor where any team could do it, where the AFC has a high, like a top, like
their top four is the top four.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah,
the Broncos are probably going to make the Baltimore or the Bills have to win it. Like it's going to be a closer game than most people would expect, but I still feel like the Bills. Just Josh Allen has played really good this year. Ravens. I mean, Lamar should get the MVP. I almost kind of don't want to give Lamar the MVP just because of what he stole from Dak last year. But that's just me. I mean, the guy with better stats should win it, and his team's good, but. They told us last year it doesn't matter as long as the team record. The Bills have the better record. Josh Allen should win it now.
Give the MVP to Joe Burrow.
Yeah, give it to Joe Burrow. The Chargers are not. I don't care that Zeke went there. I really whatever. And I'm a big Justin Herbert fan. I'm an Oregon fan. That's my college team. But dog, Chargers annoy the shit out of me. That you think that they're going to be good every year. They're not. They're like the AFC version of the Cowboys. So yeah, Texans.
I mean, I don't want the Texans to win because I do want Anth to go back to all the Texan fans that said that there's only one team in Texas.
I'm going to be busy next week.
I'm fine with the Chargers win. I really don't care about that matchup because I don't think either of those teams will make it to the Super Bowl, but we'll see.
Yeah, when I look at the AFC teams here, with Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, it's going to be fucking tough for the NFC team. Not to take away from the NFC teams. I mean, you can definitely do the same thing, but those are the three teams I think that we're going to be looking at the Super Bowl. Yeah, and just to add on to that, I'm not cheering for Chargers. I'm cheering for Zeke. I want to see him maybe get a couple tutties,
Yeah, I'll be cheering for Zeke. I'd like to see Zeke get a ring.
And
nice.
Because of the delusional Cowboys fans that say that Zeke is still good, it makes me not like.
Oh, he's
Zeke.
not good.
It makes me almost not like Zeke. But then I got to remember, Zeke is still one of the best running backs we've ever had in the franchise.
Yes.
Yeah, dude, you should have heard us every time. You should have heard us every time they put Zeke in instead of Rico. We were
mad,
screaming.
Dude,
we were pissed.
I don't understand how people defend him.
I'm still stoked though.
Yeah.
No, you
hopefully
can't.
he gets a cool touchdown.
But we'll see. I mean, what if he does go there? Because the Chargers did need depth at running back, and reportedly there was a lot of teams that were looking at Zeke. And to me, watching Zeke, even by week 3 or 4, it was like, oh, he's so done. He's so to see if he can find a little life with the Chargers.
Yeah, well, maybe exactly. Maybe he's gonna find something there with another team, a little bit of a I don't know, a little charge, perhaps.
Let's assume
A little
the
bolt.
Ravens and the Bills both win that game, their games. Who are we taking if they match up?
Ravens versus the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to see the Ravens.
For Ravens to for Ravens and Bills to play,
It's just
they
them.
they won't play
Yeah, they would.
because they're 2 and 3.
No,
right?
but
Yeah, but
Chiefs will play
worst
Texans
four,
or
there's
Chargers.
a 4 and a 5 that would play the Chiefs.
Yeah, they would. Oh man, Ravens, Bills. I'm taking Ravens.
Yeah, same.
You know what? I have to go.
EJ loves Josh Allen though.
I got to agree because
I am an Allen fan.
no, I'm an Allen fan. I think the Bills have a scary team. I just feel like Bills have that luck that just is not there still, and Ravens just have an ability
Broncos
to
beat Bills.
What?
You think
Broncos
that-
beat Bills. You heard it here first.
Oh, he's
7:40
Ooh,
p.m.
The Bo Nix
You heard
train
it's
rolling.
January 8th,
Another Oregon
Wednesday,
quarterback
January
right there.
8th. Bo Nix and the Broncos are beating Josh Allen and the Bills this Sunday.
I was like, well, they play on January 12th, but
Richie-
you're just clocking
Richie
the time
Martinez
today.
is in the chat, and he's heavy for the Steelers right now, man.
Yeah.
Richie Martinez.
I don't want to give Richie Martinez too much because he was trying to troll us about he's a fan from a different team. He was trying to punk us about Jerry Jones, which we already punked ourselves about Jerry Jones earlier. But yeah, I totally
Richie, put
Well,
your
this is
team in the
easy.
chat,
Hey,
buddy.
Richie Martinez, suck our balls.
That was AI. That was AI.
That was AI.
That was
Whoa,
AI.
we just had a glitch, media glitch.
AI
No, I
ants.
think I actually probably will take the Bills because it's at home. Bills Mafia is a rowdy fan base, man. I really Lamar has played his best season of his career this season. But man, I feel like the Bills have something special brewing right now.
So you're gonna go Bills over Ravens?
Okay, guys, before
Mm-hmm.
well, I'm gonna just let's cut to the chase.
Yeah.
What's our Super Bowl picks? Our Super Bowl matchups.
Oh my God.
This is our predictions right
Okay.
now.
Okay.
All
Okay.
of us are gonna be on record saying this right now. Jay, you're the guest, so you got to lead out, my
Yep.
friend.
Am I doing my pick that I think is going to happen or what I want to happen?
What you think?
I will tell. Actually, tell us what
gotta
you
live by it.
Tell us what you want, and then tell us what you think is what we're
What I want,
stamping.
what I want to happen.
Okay, because then we
is-
could each have two. We could
yeah,
each have two.
yeah.
Then.
What you want, and then what you actually think.
What I want to happen is Bills versus the Vikings. I'm
Ooh.
a big Justin Jefferson fan. Jordan Addison was my number one wide receiver in that class. And Ants continued to tell me he's too skinny to be good in the NFL, but he's two straight, 1,000-yard seasons. Anyways, really like the Vikings. I like their head coach, like Justin Jefferson, like I mentioned, all the third guys. I kind of like the underdog story of Sam Darnold. So I want the Vikings from the NFC. From the AFC, the Bills, I really want to see the Bills back in the Super Bowl, give that fan base something to root for. I just feel like it's going to be fun. It's going to be an electric game. And it's offensive. The Vikings have a really good defense, but I feel like the Bills, they're going to have to put up points. That brings out the best in Josh Allen. What I think is going to happen, I think the Bills are going to make it from the AFC, but I'm going to roll with the Lions from the NFC.
Bills, Lions.
I feel like the Lions, Dan Campbell just has something brewing in that locker room.
They're the best team.
They
the best
just
team.
took over the Vikings. They destroyed the Vikings.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that the Lions pose too much weapons for Philly's defense to cover all of them, even if they meet them in the NFC Championship game. And Jared Goff, for all the trash that people throw on him and being a system quarterback, he's played damn good this season. I got to give him his flowers. And I'm excited to just kind of kick back and watch actual playoff football without having to worry about matchups, without having to worry about the Cowboys and all the stuff and the antics and Jerry Jones and all that stuff.
There is that relief, isn't there? A little bit, guys. Let's
guys,
be honest.
Guys, that's called coping. That's called
It's
coping.
called coping.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys are heavy coping right now, dog.
I like that, EJ. I like that. I like that breakdown. That was very thoughtful. A-.
Who wants to take the
Yeah,
next?
that's good. I'm gonna go next. Well, who do I think? I'm gonna say Lions, Ravens. That's who I think are the two best teams in the AFC, but I still think they're the best overall team. I'm going Ravens, Lions for the Super Bowl. Who would I like to see in the Super Bowl? I would like to see. I'm gonna go because, like we said, the Chargers are the Cowboys of the AFC. I'm gonna go Chargers versus the go back over to the AFC or NFC there, AJ. I'm gonna go Chargers versus Vikings is what I'd like to see.
There you go.
Teams that no one expected. No one called Chargers Vikings
two
at the start of the year.
right
So
there.
yeah, so for that to happen, I would like to see that opposed to like
the NFL would hate that. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
Yeah, who do I want to see? Anyone else other than the Eagles and the Chiefs? If it's any other Super Bowl, I'm happy.
Let me do mine.
Yeah, do yours.
Now mine is I'm going to throw a little curveball, but it's going to be quick here, because honestly, I think what we're going to see is Chiefs Lions. What I want to see also is Chiefs Lions, so the Lions can hang on. Though it's not because I think I want Chiefs to make it back to the Super Bowl. It's so that the Lions can dethrone them, kick them off the mantle, and have a real victory. So we don't have to hear anyone say yes. But if they play Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, then X, Y, Z.
But you know what's going to happen if that's the case. The Chiefs are going to get some crap penalty at the end that allows them to get an extra 15 yards they don't deserve.
I know. That's what's going to happen. It won't matter because Gibbs is going to go off for like 4 touchdowns, passing and receiving. But what I really want to see every single year anyways is these 2 7th-ranked teams. I want to see Packers, Broncos playoffs in the Super Bowl. That would really make my day.
That.
Packers. Hey, and look, we have a decent amount.
No,
of
I don't like.
fans that watch
I'm
us,
not
so.
wishing for either team to win. It's purely based on seeding.
Right.
Yeah, 7 versus 7. 7.
I'll be quick. Very close to what Alex said. I think it's going to be Chiefs Lions, and the Lions are going to actually take that black magic Chiefs and actually win the Super Bowl. What I want to see happen.
So you guys both think top seeds?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I feel
really original, eh?
Really original, you fucks. But that's what I feel is going to happen. What I'd like to see happen, I want to see Bucks Chargers, and that's kind of like what I like.
Ooh.
I like the idea because I want to see Zeke in a Super Bowl. I don't know who would win that game, and I have
Baker.
I have a little bit of a soft spot for Baker Mayfield. I like how he plays quarterback. I like, again, I'm a story kind of guy. Bucks taking it all the way where they're totally counted out. I feel like it would be an interesting Super Bowl. I want to see lots of scoring. I want to see some intensity, and I think we would get that with a Bucks Chargers.
Rolando has a good one. Bills versus the Lions, so it's guaranteed to be a first Super Bowl for one of those teams.
Okay.
Oh, hey, you know what?
Give me fucking storylines.
Yeah.
Give me a story, and I like it.
Well, so
I like it.
I would love to see Bills versus Lions, but I'd like to see the Lions beat the Bills. That's just me.
No, Bills, Lions, and then it goes into like 4 overtimes. That would be.
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
Bills losing. Bills
really
losing
grind
another.
it out for those fan bases.
Bills losing another Super Bowl would be hilarious.
I know.
Have as many losses as we have championships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen,
guys, I think we did it. The first main event post Cowboy season.
I know.
How did it feel? None of us cried.
The first main event post Cowboy season, pre wild card.
Yeah, so kind of in the little like armpit of the.
And
season
just to give everybody a heads up, we are doing live stream play-by-plays for the college games the next 2 nights. Plus, we're doing all of the games for Wild Card Weekend. CanFan is here every step of the way for the next 4 days of fucking football.
Woo,
if
baby.
you or anybody,
EJ, if you want to hop on, if you got a free moment. I know you're raising an army in that household of yours, but
I'm trying to raise. I mean, I only have girls, so we'll see if by like 2045, if the game has come to where females can play. I doubt it, but you know, hey, maybe I can have a Cowboys member in my household right now.
Yeah,
kicker. Maybe the next Brandon Aubrey. He has a girl last name, Aubrey. One of my daughters.
Maybe Aubrey EJ.
Aubrey EJ. Ants, you want to call?
I might take you up on your offer and watch some football with you guys.
Oh, fucking A, dude. Hey, EJ.
Well, Ad was calling us out.
I'm sorry. I was going to say where EJ
No,
was.
do it. AJ has the music running, but go ahead and like EJ, let everybody know where they can find you at before we do a big call out.
It's just
Yeah, Boys in the Zone on X or Twitter, whatever you call it nowadays. YouTube is the same. You can find me at YouTube/EJ2Savage, and posting videos on that. And then also my parent network, which is also these guys' parent network, the Grid Network. I do a bi-weekly draft show where we break down prospects and we look at the guys. We look at team fits. We're going to do some mock drafts. We're going to bring in some guests on there. It should be a lot of fun, and just familiarize yourself with some of these prospects and hopefully make your team, whether it's the Packers, the Cowboys, the Buccaneers, whoever it is, Steelers, as I think it was Richie that said his team was the Steelers.
Yeah, fuck you, Richie.
Check it out. Honestly, that's GRYD Network, and we do that bi-weekly. So next Wednesday, we're going to be rolling.
Sick.
fucking A, dude. I'm looking forward to it. All as always. And you got pants on or not? I've been wondering the whole show.
The whole time.
There you go.
No, of course not.
Oh, there we go. Shorts.
Well, I'll say this, Ants. We've both been wearing these
Some
fucking
pie.
these Cowboy starter jackets the whole time. As soon as I put
you
it on,
schwitzing a little bit?
I was fucking sweating. I
Look at
like
that. EJ's is
I like
dope.
EJ's
I'm
fucking
sweating.
spirit jersey that he's got going on there. Listen,
Over here,
guys.
I'm turkey basted.
Listen, anybody out there who's asking you at the end of the 2024 season if you still them boys, you just go ahead and you look at them and you tell them to go fuck themselves! Because we all the boys. We all them boys. Fuck y'all.
Oh, hang on. The song ended. There we go. There we go.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Peace.